Mr. President, I was on the floor earlier this afternoon listening to Senator Portman's farewell address to his colleagues in the United States Senate. And I must tell you, it brought back some very fond memories over 3 decades of friendship between Rob Portman and myself as colleagues, as partners, and as friends. Earlier this week, we had a chance in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee to express our appreciation to Senator Portman for his service on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. His wife, Jane, was there, and I made an observation that the sacrifice that Jane has made and that his 3 children, Jed, Will, and Sally, we thank them for sharing Senator Portman with us and with public service. I think back about 3 decades. I first got to know Congressman Portman in 1993 when he was elected to the United States House of Representatives. An introduction came from former Congressman Bill Gradison. Bill Gradison was a congressman from Ohio that Rob Portman succeeded in the United States House of Representatives. I knew Bill Gradison from my days in the state legislature. We were friends. We had done some business, bills together in the House of Representatives. And he told me, you know, you're going to like this Rob Portman. He's the type of guy you're going to be able to work with. And by the way, I have an issue I'd like the 2 of you to take up. It was a legacy issue for Bill Gradison, and it dealt with hospice care. There wasn't a lot of interest in hospice care in the 1990s, but Congressman Portman and myself got together, and we worked on a bill, and we followed in Bill Gradison's footsteps to get that legislation accomplished. That was a beginning of a 3-decade relationship that the 2 of us have had in pursuing legislation. Perhaps our best-known legislation is the Portman-Cardin pension reform legislation. For many years, people thought my first name was Portman because of the association with Congressman Portman at the time. And I must tell you, we got amazing things done to expand retirement savings opportunities. We're very proud that several bills were enacted and signed into law. But we're equally proud of the process that was used in order to put that legislation together. We invited all stakeholders to join us. It was truly bipartisan. We wanted to get the best policy. And it was that process that led to the successful passage of the first Portman-Cardin bill that dramatically expanded retirement savings opportunities, even though it was not in either the Democrat or Republican leadership package. We were able to get it into the Balanced Budget Act. I mention the process because that's the process that Senator Portman, Congressman Portman, has always used. He's used a bipartisan process to try to bring us together to get the very best possible solutions to problems. It's been the bedrock of his career. And that's why he has been so successful here in the United States Senate. And so many of our colleagues on both sides of the aisle have expressed our gratitude for his public service. Now, I must tell you, he used that relationship sometimes to move issues that were not necessarily his partner's top priority. As he mentioned on the floor, he got me engaged in the IRS reform bill that dealt with the nuts and bolts of the IRS. Now, Mr. President, I asked you, how many people want to be known in their district for improving the IRS services for collecting their taxes? But Rob Portman was the leader on this, and he needed a Democrat in the House. And he was very persistent, and we were able to get significant reform done in the IRS when we were both members of the House. Well, as you know, Rob Portman moved on to become the USTR, to become the budget director, and then returned to the United States Senate. And I was so pleased to be able to partner with him again when he returned to the United States Senate. On the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, we talked about some of his major accomplishments. The 2 of us have worked together to promote the U.S.-Israel special relationship, the fight against anti-Semitism and BDS movement, and there has been no stronger advocate in the United States Senate for the defense of Ukraine. His record has been unbelievable amount of accomplishments of getting solid legislation accomplished because he has that ability to work across party line. He's very engaged on the issues. He knows the issues. He knows the substance. He knows your concerns, so we can work it out and reach a common level of an agreement so we can get a bill to the finish line. So that is why he has had such a remarkable record in getting retirement legislation enacted into law, getting trade legislation enacted into law, dealing with our National Park Service enacted into law, fighting drug addiction, which has been one of his major passions, making a huge difference on our war against drugs. And as was pointed out earlier, and I just really want to underscore that, his values of promoting human rights. In so many cases, he has been the key supporter, initiator, and ability to reach the finish line on bills that affect the basic rights of Americans, going against such issues as human trafficking and so many other areas. So, Mr. President, I just really wanted to take this time to say to my friend Rob Portman, through the presiding officer, thank you so much for your many, many years of public service. We wish Jane and you and your entire family only the best going forward. You've left the legislature once before and returned. Maybe you'll return again, we'll see. But I wish you only happiness and success in what follows your Senate career. Thank you for sharing your talent with the American people. With that, Mr. President, I yield the floor.